Hello, hello. Hey everyone, this is Dr. Matthew Loop. Welcome to this masterclass. I'm thrilled that you've taken time out of your busy schedule to be here. I know this information presented today has the potential to allow you to reach and impact more people in your local community, to generate more revenue for your practice, and it'll help you become more influential. So please shut yourself away, get rid of all distractions, and really tune in with me for the next 45 to 50 minutes, I should say. This presentation is titled The 2020 Google My Business New Patient Blueprint: How to Attract an Extra 10 to 20 New Patients per Month from the World's Largest Search Engine Without Spending a Dollar. Now, in my opinion, this is arguably the most valuable real estate on Google. Some docs call it Google My Business, others still refer to it as Google Maps. If you hear me use those two terms, just know that I mean the same thing throughout this talk today. Now, I'm going to get right into it and just give you one of the biggest updates of all. This is from Search Engine Land a couple months ago. Google My Business discontinues toll-free phone support. This will impact how quickly your Google My Business issues can be addressed. This isn't any surprise because Google, if you spend money on Google AdWords, pay per click, they have pretty darn good support, but local business has always been a little bit shoddy. It's just been horrible, in fact. Now, this is a challenge because I know a lot of you are going to have questions, and so many times I've referred you and said, hey, go speak with a support rep. I can give you a good guideline. I know this is going to help you, and it definitely will increase your ranking, but there might be something that we are missing, so go get on the phone with support. Well, you can't do that anymore, so I want you to write this down for your information, or just take a screenshot real quick. support.google.com/business/contact/business_other_problem. Just an FYI, I'll leave this up for a couple seconds so you can take a quick screenshot, but it is a challenge if you have a question. So the very first thing, let's say if you've got a duplicate listing, you're trying to merge listings, and you have this other important question, I'm more than happy to help you anytime, but I always recommend going down to their support so you can hear it from the horse's mouth. So make sure you have that URL just in case you ever need to contact them. Now, we're going to talk about a lot of stuff in this presentation related to Google Maps, but you have to understand there are many pillars to social media and the internet outreach. Now, the first one could be the reputation/social proof management, which Google falls under that category, Yelp, and many other review platforms. You've got Facebook, LinkedIn, Insta, organic marketing. This is the free stuff where you don't have to pay. You have pay-per-click advertising, which is on Facebook, AdWords, LinkedIn, Snap, and other platforms. You have search engine optimization, which basically means ranking your chiropractic website at the top of Google. YouTube and other online platforms, online video, TikTok, Insta, Facebook. These are ways you can get your message out through online video. Blogging and microblogging. Twitter's a great example of a microblogging network. Photo sharing, Pinterest, Instagram, news releases and publicity, podcasting. And I could have listed many others here, but these are many of the core pillars that we will be discussing today. Or I'm sorry, we won't be discussing today, but you should have a very comprehensive approach. And I know doctors that are clients of mine that generate an extra 40 plus new patients per month once they get their Maps listing dialed in. So your market might be different if you're in a rural area. Still, a passive 5 to 7 new patients per month, that's not bad for really doing the work one time. So just an FYI. Now, if we're not connected, make sure you connect with me at Matthew Loop on all my social media channels. My Facebook fan page is Matthew J. Loop. If you ever have any questions, my door is always open to you. I'm committed to helping you thrive and prosper in 2020, so don't be shy. Ask any questions that you have. And before we get started into the meat and potatoes of this presentation, make sure to download the Cultural Authority White Paper for Chiropractors. This is everything we should have learned in school but didn't. 11 professional ways to earn prestige, instant expert status, and public trust. This comes at the perfect time for us as chiropractors, and you can download it at dcincome.com/blog/authority. I'm telling you, this document will change the way you look at how your brand is perceived publicly. Sometimes we get on our own islands in the chiropractic space and we don't understand how the public perceives certain things. So this will open your eyes, and when you understand positioning, you're 90% of the way there. Everything gets easier in marketing and really bringing people into your office. Now, the goal of this training is a few different things. Number one, it's to help you help more people. We got into chiropractic school because we want to help people. So I'm all about that. Number two is we should be generating a professional income. There's a lot of doctors out there that are struggling and it's needless. Yeah, we didn't get certain types of training in school, business marketing. However, there's so much information at our fingertips, and I've been doing this for over, my gosh, it's been over 14 years since 2006, just training chiropractors in the use of, way back then it was MySpace, Facebook, Instagram, Google. I've worked with over 8,400 chiropractors just as clients, and an extra 20, 30,000 have went through my other private trainings. So I've been around a while teaching this stuff, and I can show you exactly what you need to do to have a shortcut so you can get profitable fast. Another goal is to really help your certainty, you becoming a powerful provider in the online space to get your message out to hundreds of thousands, potentially millions of people if you want it to. That's the kind of stuff we're dealing with Google. And lastly, I want to evolve you because it is 2020, and we as a profession need to start marketing like it's the year we actually live in instead of 1999. Listen, that's great if you have a solid referral practice, wonderful, but why not add this new addition to your practice so you can help more people and really be viewed as current. Now, many of you might be familiar with my story. If you're not, I'm going to take 2 minutes real quick just to give you some background. I'm a chiropractor, like you, graduated in 2004. I initially went to Life University for a couple years, then got caught up in that whole accreditation mishap, if you recall. Ended up finishing out my school at Logan, so I felt like I got the best of both worlds. But when I got out of school, I didn't get the business training that I needed. So I was fairly busy in office, but no one mentioned to me simple things like, hey, you're going to submit an insurance claim to this company, and they might take 2 to 3 months to reimburse you for a claim, and you might only get reimbursed $10 to $20. That was a very rude awakening for me, and it got to a point where my credit cards were maxed because I was trying all this advertising. You got over $130,000 of student loan debt. I had $1,000 in bills due the following week. My ex-girlfriend's father-in-law had to cut me a check for $2,000 to float me along at one point because I just I didn't understand certain elements of marketing. I was a great technician, chiropractor, and yes, I would get some referrals because of that. But if you've read Michael Gerber's E-Myth, which is one of the business Bibles, then you know that there are 3 components to every business, chiropractic practice included: the technician, the manager, and the entrepreneur. So once I got to that humiliating point in my life, I had to turn things around. It's like, I got to make this work. I'm a great doctor, but something's not clicking. And that's when I read E-Myth by Michael Gerber and Influence the Psychology of Persuasion by Robert Cialdini. And those enlightened me to what I was doing wrong or assumptions that I was making. And it actually showed me about purchase behavior, why people made the buying decisions that they made. And it totally changed my life. I've been very blessed over that time, not just to grow a practice, but to train thousands and thousands of chiropractors. And I've spoken on stages in this profession and outside, some of the biggest in the world, like NASDAQ, Harvard. And I've been invited to some pretty darn cool places just because of my use of social media. Have you ever been served lamb tandoori by a billionaire philanthropist on his private island? That's a pretty amazing thing with, Sir Richard Branson. Got to spend the entire day with him, his team, and some other cool mastermind members. And that was because of how I learned to use social media. Connecting with guys like Tony Robbins at intimate private venues, or Shark Tank star Kevin O'Leary. These opportunities would have never been possible. And you can do the same thing in your local market, not just to connect with influencers, but to help a large amount of people so you're known as that celebrity expert, that Dr. Oz of the marketplace. So I encourage you really just to, again, absorb this information today and use this as one layer of your marketing, and then you can stack on another layer like Instagram, Facebook advertising, LinkedIn, like I show you in some of my other courses. Now, some of you may be asking, why Google My Business? Well, here's the deal. Quite honestly, it is the most valuable real estate on the search engine, formerly called Google Maps. And honestly, people buy doctors like they buy books on Amazon. They want to see feedback. And if you have large amounts of feedback, at least 2 to 3 times the amount of reviews than your closest competitor, and you rank in that top 3 pack, you will reap the lion's share of new patients searching for chiropractors. This makes you look very trustworthy. I call it the low-hanging fruit because when you dial this in, you will actually attract extra passive new patients per month. You set the system up one time and it will feed your office potentially for years to come. I can share success stories from clients that have done this, and it blows my mind. So you don't need a company to, spending $200 or $500 a month to manage your Google Maps listing. You can do it yourself or have a team member in your office do it for you very easily. And like we talked about before, it's 2020, so we as a profession need to market like it's the year we actually live in. We have to evolve with the times so we're not perceived as outdated and out of touch. Here's what it looks like. I just did a quick Google search for West Valley, Utah chiropractor, and as you can see here, 4 listings come up on the first page. The first one is a sponsored ad. Then you have these other ones, and let's be honest. If you were trying to choose between a doctor that had 142 reviews, 47, and 860, who would be the only logical choice? Well, if you're honest with yourself, you're going to say the doctor with 860 reviews, because that's how we are wired. Listen, the internet is a big popularity contest. It doesn't matter if it's Facebook fans or if it's Google reviews. If you've got the most reviews, and yes, people are going to read these, you're going to be the only game in town. So this gentleman is reaping the lion's share of new patients. And of course, he just happens to be a client of mine, right? It's no accident. There's this whole positioning thing that you need to understand. So number one, do you have a Google Maps listing or Google My Business listing? You should have one, right? So double check, Google your practice name, Google your phone number to see if it's on there. If you see it, you'll see a Maps listing probably to the right-hand side where it has your business information and a photo maybe of a map. If you don't, you can easily set one up. Now, if you have a Google Maps listing, are you on the first page? Let's say I search Phoenix Chiropractor. Are you on the first page? If you are, that's fantastic, because I can guarantee you, you are seeing new patients every month because of it. Do you have any reviews? If you don't have any reviews to that listing and you have a listing, it doesn't really look good. It means you're not review worthy. So we certainly don't want to give that impression. Do you have the most reviews? Do you have a negative review? Now, you don't have to tell me, but eventually you're going to get a negative review. So we need to plan for this now and stack the social proof in our favor and get as many positive reviews as we can. And let me give you an example. I always give this example, but there's a place called The Joint in Decula, Georgia. And let's say you were just searching for a chiropractor. You ran across this listing, 1.5 stars. You're not even going to think twice. You might not even read the review because you're like, I don't think so. I'm not going to go to a place that has 1.5 star review. For all we know, this could have been a billing issue, right? How many times has this happened where maybe something wasn't communicated as clearly as it could have, and bam, that person takes it out on Yelp, Google for you. Sometimes if people wait too long in the reception area, they might have a problem. We just don't know. People leave negative reviews for many silly things, but it's going to happen. Plan on it. Now, Dr. Kathy, she was a private coaching client, and she was referred by one of my other clients. And before we met, she was actually attracting new patients in her office from Google. It wasn't that much, maybe 1 or 2 a month, but it was something. But when she came to me, she had mentioned, I haven't had any referrals from Google in 6 months, which I thought was kind of weird. What do you think the first thing that I did with her practice was? I Googled it. I wanted to see what others were saying. And lo and behold, there was a 1-star review, and this person posted it on Yelp, Google, City Search. They went to town. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe it was over a billing issue, right? Now, she was depressed for a little bit because, listen, we're trying to help people in our office. We want to give them the best service possible. We're not trying to cause issues, but sometimes things happen. Well, I started to get her on this review getting campaign, and what happened after 2 to 3 months, she had, I think it was around 25 reviews or so. That was producing an extra 2 to 3 new patient calls every single week. Now, her average case value is between 1,200 and 1,500 for the lifetime value per patient that walks through her door. So you can do the math and figure out how much was she losing by not having her reputation squared away, by not having all this positive feedback and reviews online. She was losing a large amount of money. So again, I say that to not let it happen to you. Where do you start? Well, look for your listing first. Google your practice name and see if you are listed. If not, just go to google.com/business or /mybusiness. This will take you to a screen where you can set up this listing. It's really simple, pretty intuitive. You don't have to be a tech genius to set this up here. Google Maps ranking factors. They really fall into 3 categories, and I've spoken about this before, but number 1 is relevance, 2 is prominence, and 3 is distance. Google, for the longest time, has ranked by relevancy, whether they are traditional websites or maps listings. Prominence, how well are you featured and cited online? And distance is really an X factor that we don't control, but I'll tell you what, if you dial in these next 14 ranking factors that I'm going to share with you, 90% of the cases you will rank in that 3-pack on the first page. Yes, sometimes we don't control the distance to the searcher, but I've just reliably helped so many doctors utilize this strategy. Write these down. There are 14 of them. Your profile needs to be completed in its entirety and the proper category selected. You wouldn't believe how many doctors, they don't even have category listed as chiropractor as their primary category. That's the number 1 thing. Make sure it's relevant. You're listed as a chiropractor. Number 2, complete the profile. Anytime Google ushers in a new section or feature, use it. You can guarantee there will be some weight to it. Listing has to be verified. They can either do this by postcard, they'll send you a postcard in the mail, and or they still do phone verification in some markets, but that's more of a credibility indicator. The main key word, like your city and chiropractor or chiropractic in the business name, if that is in there, that's awesome. If it's not, I'm not going to tell you to worry about it because you can still rank on the first page, but as you know, Google does reward relevancy. So if let's say your practice name was Phoenix Chiropractic and Wellness, and your domain name was phoenixchiropractic.com, well, that would be like a very big point of relevance, and you might just automatically rank in the Google Maps listings. Activity on the profile. This comprises everything from responding to reviews as they come in, to uploading new images to the Google Maps listing, to also posting on Google My Business like you would on Facebook. There's a section back there when you log in that you can post on Google My Business, just like you would update Facebook. I would do that, or have your CA in your office do that a couple times per week at least. Google loves activity. The business description does matter. So, of course, make sure that you reference what you do in there and add chiropractic. Citations are a really big thing in terms of ranking, because this means that if you're cited on more directories online, like Superpages, Health Grades, Yelp, Google My Business, like all these different citation directories, these places where you can list your practice, if you're cited on dozens of them, that is good. Those are votes in your favor. It makes you look more legitimate. This is I would say, a more prominent one for this year. Content quality on your website. So Google not only looks at the Google Maps listing, but they look at your chiropractic website. Content quality. Is all of your content canned? Listen, there's something to be said about the value that you can go with a chiropractic company for your website. I have a lot of clients that use them, and I mean, some of them are good companies. But if you don't have any unique original content on the site, and if it's not high quality, and if it doesn't rank too well, that could negatively impact the way you rank in Google Maps. That's really important, because this year more than ever, that's becoming a bigger factor. So you've got to have more content quality. Even if you went to Upwork or Fiverr to have somebody start ghostwriting you articles periodically, and you can add your own flair and knowledge in them after they're finished, well, you need quality content on a regular basis. Click-through rate. This basically means if you're searching for a chiropractor in Atlanta, the first listing that you click on is a vote for that practice. So click-through rate is really important in terms of relevancy. And this is nothing new. This has been like this for many years with Google on their regular SEO ranking algorithm. But in the Google Maps, it's also more important. So if somebody goes and they are looking for a chiropractor and they don't click on anyone on the first page and they go to the extended listings and they find your listing, they click on it and they're from that local area, that's a very powerful vote in your favor. So definitely try to get increased clicks that way. Website updated and optimized for desktop and mobile. So your website, because it's 2020, should be optimized for mobile if you're trying to rank as high as you can on Google Maps. They have their own spiders and spiders that crawl the website, so they know if things are updated. And if you are with one of the, let's say, chiropractic companies, I would imagine their stuff is formatted well for mobile, but double check just to make sure. Backlinks. Now, all links are not created equal here, and what links are basically votes online. So if you are linked from a different property like YouTube, or I've got in parentheses here HARO, which means help a reporter out, guest blog post, PR, YouTube, all these things can be considered some degree of authority. Now, there are other websites that are much higher authority than others. For instance, if you were to get a guest blog post in the local newspaper or in the Wall Street Journal, for instance, that's a powerful, high authority link. Now, help a reporter out. This is a great service where you can go and contribute to news stories potentially in your local area, and they will link back to your websites and or link back to your Google Maps listing. If you get a few of those from some news sites, that can be well worth its while in citing you as a business of importance on Google. So that's an interesting thing that Google's placing more weight on, is links from authority-based properties. Reviews, obviously. So quantity of reviews is extremely important, but it's not the only thing. There's so many times where a doc will approach me and he'll say, hey, Matt, I've got the most reviews in my area, and I'm still not ranking on the first page of Google. Why not? Well, because there are 14 ranking factors that really matter, like I'm sharing with you right now. All these things play together in terms of where you rank. Traffic to your chiropractic website matters. So if you're coupling these strategies we're talking about today with other stuff like I'm teaching you, whether it's on Facebook, other Google SEO stuff, LinkedIn, all these channels, if you're getting a bunch of traffic to your website, Google does favor that. Embedded Google Map on your website. Many of you probably already have this, but it's a good idea to have Google's map embedded on your website to your practice because they will sync your websites up a lot easier. Distance to town center, we don't control that, but it is really important in Google's overall ranking algorithm. As I mentioned previously, if you dial these things in, it's a high likelihood that you will rank on the first page of Google in the top of the search. Now, aside from Google's dropping their phone number completely for customer support and the content quality being a big one, here's some things that you might not have noticed that have increased in weight in terms of ranking factor. Mobile friendliness and the on-page SEO of your site, that is a big deal. Social signals. Are people liking your posts? Are they sharing your stuff? Through social channels. Those matter. Images added to your Google My Business listing. Google My Business posts. These we factored before under activity to that Google My Business listing. Messaging. Google allows messaging to go on through Google My Business. Local phone numbers, right? Some of you might have an 800 phone number, which you use for tracking, and I totally get why you use it, but Google does favor local phone numbers. Embedded Google Map on the contact page. Now, as I mentioned again earlier in this presentation, you want to use any and all features that Google rolls out for Maps listings. You know it's going to be important, and they can rank you very high. Listen, going back to this listing, who are you going to choose, right? If you're a prospective patient, you're going to choose the person that has 860 reviews. It's just a no-brainer, so stack the social proof in your favor. One of my clients and friends, Dr. Frank Antolsik, he sent this to me a while back. And he talks about him getting reviews over and over. And at this stage, he only had 40 reviews, which was 3 times the amount of reviews in his area. And that alone produced the next extra 8 new patients this week just from that listing. Dr. Dan talks about, I used your social media elite training program, did everything I was told. 4 months after opening a new office, I've been able to get here and rank on that first page in that 3-pack without spending a penny on marketing. Phenomenal. I get those testimonials quite a bit. Now, let's talk about a script that gets you reviews quick. So many times chiropractors make this more difficult than they should, but here it is, real simple. Mrs. Jones comes in and she's feeling happy and enthusiastic about the work that you've done. You're going to say, Mrs. Jones, that's fantastic that you've noted such great results with chiropractic. Tell you what, we would love your feedback on Google because it helps us help more people that never knew chiropractic was an option for headaches or back pain. And some people undergo needless surgery, so we're committed to helping as many of our Atlanta residents as possible. Would you mind giving your feedback today before you leave? It takes 30 seconds, and my assistant will show you exactly what to do. And then you just wait. Get the verbal confirmation. Look that person in the eye. I'm telling you, this is going to be your highest compliance. It's right there in the office. They can do it from their smartphone. There's no problem with that, even if it's on your Wi-Fi, right? If you go to a restaurant and leave a review, it's done on their Wi-Fi typically, and there's not a problem. I get a lot of questions from chiropractors that are a little bit scared to do it. Just don't get reviews from your computer. Google tracks IP addresses, and if you get 50 reviews from the same computer in the office, that looks a little suspect. Google will, they'll flag some of those reviews if you do it that way, potentially all of them. But if it's from that person's smartphone in the office, I'm telling you, it couldn't be easier to have them do it. Most people will be happy to. And yes, if they don't have a Google account, Google will make them open up one, but it takes literally 30 seconds. Now, some doctors, and this is going to depend on the state, so check your state board, some doctors will have an incentive. So Mrs. Jones, if you're able to do this review today before you leave, we've got a special gift for you. It's normally valued at $17. It's just our way of saying thank you for letting us serve you in the community. Now, if you want to, you can sweeten the deal. Totally up to you, but again, know your state board, what you are able to do and whatnot. The money is in the follow-up. With this, if they walk out of your office and say, hey, doc, I'll do it at home, it's not going to happen. It's very unlikely because life gets in the way. You're not their first priority anymore. We need to follow up on a regular basis, though, if they don't do it. So keep following up. That's important. Now, imagine if you implemented this one strategy 6 months ago and you were on the first page of Google and you had 2 to 3 times the amount of reviews than your closest competitor. I know some of you are going to see this information. You're probably not going to do much with it. We're going to talk 6 months later or a year later. You'll see me at a seminar, an event, and you're going to be like, hey, Matt, I finally implemented that Google Maps procedure. Oh, my gosh, now I'm actually getting 1 to 2 people a week calling or however many number that is. I can't believe I didn't do this sooner. I get that quite a bit. So, it's always like a punch in the stomach for me, too, because I know what you're missing out on if you don't implement these strategies and protocols. Don't waste time. Who knows how long this opportunity is going to be available for us. Review software. I get this quite a bit too. And by the way, if you're using a review program automated in your practice, I'm not going to tell you to stop using it. The follow-up is important. So some of these programs are good at getting people to follow up and to leave reviews. But I will say that your highest compliance is when you look someone in the eye in your office and you ask them directly. That's what you should do first. And you can certainly put them into their software so it can do it, but don't discount the face-to-face interaction. Anyone that I've helped really get hundreds of reviews, they've all followed this protocol to a T, and their life and practice have never been the same. My number one social proof rule online is very simple. Never let it work against you ever. I don't care if it's Google reviews, Facebook fans, or likes. You want to have the most far and away because the web is a big popularity contest. People buy doctors like they buy books online, right? This is a very simple concept. So understand the psychology of this. You need a plan of action. So if you can commit to getting at least 5 reviews every single week, get all of your office on the same page. This is a new part of your protocol. Previous patients, current patients, family, friends, these are all eligible to leave you feedback on Google. Make it happen. Commit to some consistency, and you will find that in a few weeks' time or a few months, you have a large amount of reviews, probably more than anyone else in your local area. Repackaging reviews. This is an area of opportunity where a lot of doctors miss the boat. Listen, if you're getting positive reviews on Google, wonderful. You should repackage them in the office. If you've got a booklet in the office that you give patients or a couple handouts, why not give them handouts or a book with 100 reviews in it so people can read real-life testimonials? That's going to set the stage for them to believe you even that much more because you've helped so many people. So when you go to make your care plan, it's going to be easier for them to say yes based on your previous results. Now, on your website, this is another area. Repackage your Google reviews, feature, screenshot them, put them on your website. Have a separate tab that says, while we've treated hundreds of patients over the years, here's what 54 had to say. You literally screenshot the Google reviews and you put them on your website. It's relatively simple to do. There are widgets out there that you can embed on your website, but I believe they can only do 4 or 10 reviews. You can't really list dozens or hundreds of reviews with those things. But I will say it's important to overwhelm people with a volume of social proof and reviews. Mistakes to avoid. Getting reviews from the same computer in the office. We discussed that. Google will filter some of those, and that's just a pain in the neck. Mistake number 2, inconsistency. You have to have a regular protocol. That consistency will move mountains, and I'm telling you, it's going to add up. Eventually, that snowball turns into an avalanche. Mistake number 3 is not getting started, right? This is 2020. This is how people buy doctors and businesses, so we can't have this social proof working against us. If you master positioning, you're 95% of the way there. I get questions all the time about Yelp, and while I agree, Yelp is an unethical company. They suck. I mean, there's just no other words. They're a necessary evil. And I'll tell you what, if you use an iPhone, all iPhones are integrated with Apple Maps, and Apple Maps pull back Yelp listings. If you use a smart speaker like Alexa in your house and you say, hey, Alexa, who are the best chiropractors in Atlanta? Yelp, they're going to pull back Yelp listings. So the smart speakers and the phones are heavily integrated with Yelp. There's nothing you can do about that. You've got to play the game. Now, with Yelp, the smart thing to do is to find active patients in your office, people that have a history of 10 or more reviews or 20 or more friends on Yelp. When you find those people, because you can actually do a search on Yelp. There's a section where you can find your friends if you're logged into your personal profile. So you can search a patient's name or their email. If you find people that are active, you're going to put their name off to the side. So when the time comes where they're feeling enthusiastic and their best, we're going to ask them to leave feedback on Yelp. And preferably, if they're in your office, the best thing to do would be to have them check in on Yelp. Because once you check in, what happens is Yelp prompts you to leave a review for that business. And when you leave a review, that looks more natural. Now, they can still leave a review at home, that's fine, but we're just trying to make things seem as natural as possible. Yelp doesn't even want you to ask anyone for reviews, but we know from Business 101, if you don't ask, you don't get. And when a negative Yelp review hits your profile, that thing will never come down. You know, Google sometimes will actually filter and look at spam, but Yelp very, very rarely. So I can tell you some stories about that. Again, we always need to stack the social proof in our favor. If you don't have any negative reviews, you best prepare because eventually it's coming. Other review websites that you need to pay attention to, Google is the top priority. Yelp comes in at number 2, but you've got Facebook. They do have a review section on your fan page. It's called Recommended now. RateMDs, Health Grades, Yellow Pages, Manta, CitySearch, Local.com, Bing. You know, if you Google your practice name, these are what come up on the first 2 or 3 pages of Google. So you need to have all the social proof working in your favor. These websites, it's a lot easier to give feedback and reviews. How much different would your practice reputation and life be if you implemented this just a few months ago? I want you to really think about that. There's always a price to inaction. How much more goodwill, trust, and visibility would you have garnered? How much more positive brand equity would you have? How many more new patient referrals from Google would you have each and every single month? I could tell you stories of clients that generate an extra 1 to 2 new patients per week just off of Google Maps. I could tell you other stories of clients that do an 8 to 12 new patients a week just from Google Maps. Depends on your city, how active it is, but it's certainly a powerful thing to get up. Doesn't cost you any money to do this. So why wouldn't you do this? How many more people in your local community would you be helping? Now, in my flagship training, Social Media Elite, I have video tutorials that walk you step by step so you can look over my shoulder on how to get this set up the right way the first time so you don't have to spend a lot of time, money, and frustrating hard knocks getting these systems in place. I've already figured out all the systems and done the work for you. Now, I've encountered any obstacle that you'll face when it comes to Google or social media, because I've been doing this so long over the years. And the reality is, with change comes opportunity. On this presentation in the past, I usually find there are 3 types of doctors. The first one is you've seen this information, you think it's pretty good, but you're probably not going to do anything with it just because of your history. You stop and start things. And I sincerely hope that's no one, because this is very timely. And it's just how our consumer buying habits have shifted. This is how we buy things online. Second type of doctor you might be, you know that Google's not going anywhere or social media, and you want to level up your game. You want to take it to the master level, get systems in place, and you want to learn from somebody that has already been where you want to be and has all the systems. The third type of doctor you might be is maybe you're actually attracting 20 plus new patients a month in your practice from Google and social media, but you know you're capable of more, and with some slight adjustments, you could probably increase that dramatically. Now, regardless of what category you fall into, I'd like to introduce you to my flagship training, Social Media Elite. This is a home study training, instantly downloadable, over 70 easy-to-follow video tutorials created by a doctor, myself, and it works for any type of chiropractic practice. If you're a straight chiropractor, if you do personal injury, if you're into functional medicine, neurology, weight loss, I've worked with so many types of chiropractors and holistic doctors as a whole. I even offer a 6-month money-back guarantee, which is unheard of in this industry. And I do that because I want you to try the information. I want you to have plenty of time. One new patient more than pays for the system, and depending on what type of practice you have, could be many times over. So here's what you get in the program. You're going to learn all about Facebook organic referral marketing strategies. You can get free traffic from Facebook. It just depends on how it's done. So I walk you step by step so you can look over my shoulder with these videos. I share with you what's working now. Facebook advertising, and I'll give you even sample ads to swipe. This is so powerful because with the flip of a switch, you can send people to your message, to your offer. You can brand yourself a certain way in the community. You can create valuable content and put it out proactively in front of just the local base. It is amazing. We have doctors that are getting well known in their communities every day just from Facebook advertising, and that doesn't even include the new patients that are coming in on the front end. So there's so much you can do with it, and I really break those strategies down for you so you can actually get these systems in place, and you don't have to spend $500 or $2,000 per month on an agency fee for somebody else to manage it for you. Google My Business Marketing. If you like this tutorial today, you're going to love those tutorials in there because I'll walk you step by step through how to do this most effectively. I show you search engine optimization, and quite simply, that means how to get your website ranked at the top of Google. It's not as complicated as many make it out to believe, so I show you the step-by-step on that process. Instagram. A lot of people have migrated from Facebook over to Instagram because you don't have the political commentary, the whining, etc. So there's a science and art to using Instagram as this new patient attraction platform, and I share with you many video tutorials that walk you through everything from contests to geotagging to what types of content to post to pull best. You're going to find that very valuable. LinkedIn. LinkedIn is an affluent social network that very few chiropractors have truly tapped into. So I share with you some strategies in there. One in particular, my favorite advertising strategy that you can use in LinkedIn to really grow your practice very quickly and get in front of decision makers. right? The average person on LinkedIn, they say, generates over $80,000 per year in income. So you're not dealing with people that usually don't have jobs. This is a more affluent market. Pinterest for your practice, very similar to Instagram. YouTube, if I had to credit a medium for making me well known in a couple different industries before Facebook, or really before I started massively pushing myself, it was YouTube. Some of my videos from 2006 and 7, they suck, but I keep them online to show how far that I've come, and I show you how to rank your videos on the first page with YouTube. Google owns YouTube, so they favor its content, and if you do it a certain way, you can easily monopolize real estate on the search engine. TikTok. This is something that maybe many chiropractors haven't even heard of yet, but it is the most downloaded app in the App Store with over 500 million users on this thing, right? It's insane. So I share with you some ways that you can get your message out, and I think you're going to be blown away by this particular platform. I'm not going to say too much about it because I want you to see what I have in there, but it's phenomenal. I mean, and I give you some sample content to model. Twitter. Twitter is a real-time social network where you can literally search conversation down to the second. So I share with you literally how some of my clients have been able to attract new patients in their office within a matter of minutes just by using a simple Twitter search. Outsourcing and leveraging. Listen, you should know what's going on. You should have the finger on the pulse of your marketing, but you don't have to get all techie geeky with it and know all the little details. So I share with you ways that you can leverage, or if you're looking to bring people in to help you very easily. And you get a quick start manual and task list. If you like the way that the information was presented in this webinar today, you're going to enjoy this. Now, the quick start manual, there's a lot there, so I'd recommend not taking it all at once. It's kind of like the 5,000-foot bird's eye view of stuff that will eventually get implemented, little by little, step by step though. And there's just a lot more in the course. So what Social Media Elite will do for you is it'll finally give you a strategy. Maybe you're already attracting some patients in your office, but you're kind of throwing stuff at the wall and you're hoping something will stick, and maybe it's producing a little bit for you, or maybe you have somewhat of a strategy that is producing a dozen or a couple dozen, but again, you know you're capable of much more. This will give you the strategy that's worked for the busiest chiropractic offices in the world, and I know you'll find it insightful. Traffic. Most doctors don't get enough traffic to their websites to really determine if they're working or if they're not. So before you throw your website under the bus, you need to get some traffic there. That's what this course shows you how to do. And Social Media Elite shows you how to get top Google rankings. If you're ranked at the top of the search engines, well, naturally you're going to attract more people into your office that are searching for chiropractors or back doctors, whatever, online. I show you how to create an unstoppable public relations machine you couldn't turn off, even if you wanted to. And you'll get more new patients through the door. You'll also discover a set of skills that will pay you for life. This is not one of those postcard drops, one and done, fly-by-night strategies that, will produce for one time. You can set up systems that will produce over and over for years and years to come. That's why I love social media. Now, some of you will say, well, I don't have the time, but yet you have the time to watch, 2 hours of TV every single day. We both know you get what you prioritize, and it doesn't take a lot of time. If you can devote 30 minutes every single day to this, to growing your practice, which you should, you'll see some dramatic gains. It's just that simple. Usually we turn the time that you're already on the computer into productive time just to market the office, so it's not extra time. And you don't have to be a computer genius. This is not biochemistry either. We passed biochemistry, we had it in school, but is it new learning? Yes, it is. Is it crazy hard? No, it's not. It's just that repetition breeds familiarity. The more you do it, the easier it becomes. And again, I walk you through with video tutorials, so it can't get any easier than that. You get professional guidance and mentorship from somebody that's already done it, been where you are, overcome any obstacle that you face. Dr. Jay Greenstein, he talks about how after implementing a lot of this material from working with me, with this, growth 50% in just 1 year. In hard numbers, that's 420 new clients from the strategies that Matt has taught us, right? He has a few clinics. Pretty amazing. Dr. Andy Green talks about, I've had Social Media Elite from you for a few years, getting 60 to 100 views per day, average new patients in the clinic, 60 per month, about 40 per month from the internet. Awesome. Dr. Sachin Patel talks about how he used what I taught him with social media to generate an extra $1 million of income using this stuff. Pretty powerful. Dr. Ryan French out of Canada talks about how 9 new patients in the last week and a half. Took a bit to get going, he says, but I'm impressed. Sometimes there is a ramp up time with social media because the reality is your market might be super competitive. You might have docs that have been doing it for 5 years or so or whatever. Well, that's not a problem. You can ramp that up certainly, but little by little, it all starts by taking action today. Dr. Ryan talks about how he's now got a 2 to 3 week waiting list because of what he's learned from the strategies that we implemented. Dr. Sean talks about 7 new patients in the last 5 days, all but one from Google searches. And that was a direct referral from an MD. Thanks. Dr. Ryan Browning talks about, how it's been awesome not to really worry about new patients and where they're coming from. Now he gets to focus his energy and attention and growth on other things in his 3 daughters. That's a pretty powerful thing. He's been a social media elite client for many years. Dr. Vanessa talks about in her clinic, 5 months into practice, 22 new patients from Facebook alone last month. Right? That's what's possible when you dial in this. And we're not even talking about LinkedIn or Google. So I'm just a big believer in stacking many layers on top. And once you stack all those layers on, it doesn't happen tomorrow, but little by little, step by step, that snowball will always turn into an avalanche. So you have a special opportunity today on this webinar. Social Media Elite, my flagship program, normally is $597. That's what it retails for every day, but you can save 37% right now if you take action. So that means you save $220 on the normal $597. So it's just a one-time investment of $377. And I'm going to throw in for this training an extra $3,288 in bonuses. One of those is a private phone consultation with me because I know your practice is different from the doctor down the street. I want to get on the phone with you to help individually tailor this information to you. You get access to our private Facebook group. We have 1,500 members in there. I attached a value to this, $997, but really that group is priceless. So many great conversations, people helping other people, strategies, and I post new trainings in there periodically. It's a really powerful group to be a part of. You get access to the 365 chiropractic graphics package. That's a $197 value. If you ever run out of ideas to post on Facebook, use one of these graphics to make it simple. You get free course updates for life, which is a $997 value. I'm not going to release a Social Media Elite 2.0. I've never agreed with that philosophy, so if I put a new training in there, you're going to get access to it. I've had doctors message me from 10 years ago and say, hey, can I get the newest update? Like, yeah, absolutely, here you go, right? That's just, if you're committed to yourself and you're going to invest in this program, I'm totally committed to you. You get unlimited email support as well. So if you want to email me now or in 2 years from now, I'm still going to answer your email. You get access to the 3-day new patient machine sequence, and I just did a video, a low-hanging fruit webinar for our Social Media Elite members where I talked about using this as a reactivation script, just modifying and tweaking it. I had one of my clients talk about how she reactivated 24 patients in the last 2 weeks because of this script. She never sent an email to her list, and her list was roughly about 2,000. So that was huge. Here's what to do next. If you like the idea of attracting an extra 40 plus new patients per month without spending any money on advertising, click the big yellow or orange add to cart button that you see here. Just click it one time, and then you'll get instant access to the trainings after you're in. Now, when you click that button, it'll take you to the checkout. You complete the first page. After that first page, you have the opportunity to either pay with credit card or PayPal. Choose which one works best for you. Once that's completed, wait a few minutes, check your email, and if you don't see it in your regular inbox, you know that filters these days are crazy. It doesn't matter what service you use, so check your junk and your spam. The email title will say congratulations on your investment. That's the welcome email, and you'll have the download links within that email. So double check, and if you don't get it within 30 minutes, just send an email to my assistant Anna at info@dcincome.com. That's info@dcincome.com, and she can help you with that, get you the links, and such. As I mentioned previously, I have a 6-month money back guarantee with this program, and very few people usually return it. And the ones that I've had, my gosh, it's been so few, but the ones that have just not implemented anything typically. So hopefully you are not like that. You want to see 2020 just set records in your personal life, in your practice, and I would love to help you do that. I'm committed to helping you thrive and prosper in this new year. If you ever have any questions, yes, you can look me up on social media or type them in the chat box here. Click the big yellow, orange add to cart button, get into Social Media Elite, and if you know other chiropractors that you feel could benefit from this program, if you see people struggling, share this information with them, and I'm more than happy to help and serve at the highest level. So listen, hopefully you enjoyed the information that I presented today. I'll talk to you soon, guys. Ciao.